Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dearjames, and together with the unseen, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, we look at the current energies, the intuitive wisdom and insights, and we go as guided. And we are building upon last week's show, all of these major energies shifting really once in a lifetime, once in eons of lifetimes. So gracious greetings, Kiki. Welcome, Alicia. So let's jump in with the astrology first, and then we'll build towards the actual overall theme. And what we're looking at, let's just look at the main energies. We have double ones, the creative, initiate, which is what we'll be working with. That 21, biting through, discernment. It's the Seven of Cups in the tarot. It's all about discernment as we walk our path to the new us, and us meaning individually and collectively. And that while number 5, it's about change and nourished while we're waiting. And that we have the patience to persevere, to walk this narrow path. And you'll see that here in a second. And it's to remember that where we are, 2026 is a 10-year. It's represented by the Wheel of Fortune, which represents change, the completion of cycles. It's Jupiter, it's ruled by Jupiter, and it's this moving forward. So the wheel of life is ever changing, ever moving forward. That 10 culminates in a 1, which is the Magician. It is the great manifestor card in the tarot. And so how the astrology and the numerology is mirroring with the tarot, and that we have everything we need. It's always within us. And thereby the Magician has the cup, the pentacle, the sword, the wand, the crystal wand, as above, so below. So it's about how we co-create in this moment. And that all leads us to, with all of this astrology, I'm going to show you here in a second the astrology, all of this astrology is leading to the Fool in the tarot. It is the 0 card, and it is represented by air, Aries and air. Aries is a fire sign, but this taking that leap of faith. And again, in the knapsack is everything that the Magician has. And it's about, then let me just go to this really quickly. The Fool represents and it signifies new beginnings, innocent adventure, and taking a leap of faith. It represents boundless potential and the start of a new journey with optimism and trust in the unknown. That's key. We've never been where we're going. We've never been there. So it's about having this optimism and trust in the unknown. And though it can also warn of naivety and recklessness when reversed, It suggesting foolish risks or being unprepared. So when the Fool card is upside down, reversed, it can mean naivety, recklessness, not being prepared, kind of foolish risks and behavior. Upright, it encourages spontaneity, a fresh perspective, and starting without needing everything perfectly planned, embodying the start of the Fool's journey through life's major lessons. So this, with the Fool card, and it is upright for us, and it's about new beginnings and potential, leaps of faith, innocence and spontaneity, freedom, adventure. Why? Because we're moving into, here's the astrology that we're working with, and this is the first new moon. It's a Capricorn. It happens to be in Capricorn. It's the first new moon of 2026 in Capricorn. What I want to draw your attention to is from Jupiter on the upper left in Cancer over to Mars opposite it on the right. We are now currently, this happened on the 18th of January, we are now literally where all the planets, major planets, personal planets, is in one half of the zodiac. And you can see that on the right-hand side. It begins with the symbol for Mars, then Mercury, then the Moon, then the Sun, then Venus, and they're all approaching Pluto in Aquarius. And remember, Pluto in Aquarius, not since the industrial American and French revolutions. So each one of these planets is the personal planets are going to conjunct Pluto in Aquarius in the next weeks ahead. This is major. And look at, it's called a stellium when all of these planets are conjunct in astrology. They are loosely in opposition to Jupiter across in Cancer, which again is conjunct Sirius A, the dog star. We spoke about that in last week's show. So you see that there's this planetary pileup of personal renewal. Well, that personal renewal, 8 billion souls on the planet, that personal renewal is magnified, amplified, ripples out, because it's going to happen to every single one of us individually, collectively. And so the Fool, so this is where the Fool card, representing the Fool, the leap of faith, that unknown, facing the unknown, with optimism and joy and excitement, as opposed to fear and anxiety and trepidation. It's facing the uncertainty with certainty, with this knowing that everything is exactly the way it's meant to be. It is hard to put our brains around that and our hearts around that when we see so much chaos and deconstruction going on in the world that we live in our lives. And perhaps that in our individual lives we're being uprooted, but it's the mandrakes in the Harry Potter films. We're being uprooted, transplanted, advanced, because that's where all of this is happening, to advance us individually, collectively. It's advancing humanity forward because we're ready. It's blast off time. Things are moving fast. And you will see how we are moving into a fire and air time period, era, where things are much more fluid. And so fluid meaning fast. Things happen, they accelerate. And so the way we kind of stay steady with all of that is to, again, ground ourselves in divine timing, divine order, divine wisdom, allowing our soul source connection to guide us and lead us. It's all happening for us, not to us. And that as we all collectively rise, we win, we receive, we experience a new adventure that has never been before. And it's not minor. This is major, major, major astrological happenings, meaning as above, so below, the divine orchestrating on our behalves, humanity's behalf, to advance us forward into an octave and an era we've never been. And it's number one from the unseen. They said, beyond the ordinary lies the extraordinary. Reach for the stars. And 3 exclamation points. So this is about, we're moving beyond the ordinary. Where we've been, as remarkable as it has been, what the unseen is saying to us is, but that was ordinary. That was, and look at life, how we went from silent films or radio to silent films, to black and whites with audio, to color, ordinary. Now we're moving to technicolor, where things just come alive. And that's beyond the ordinary lies the extraordinary. Reach for the stars. It's about not settling. It's about taking the leap of faith. The fool, just bring it back up. That fool has joy and determination and courage, and the loyal companion, the white dog representing purity, and all of this adventure that's here for us, depicting a new path. And when we step off the cliff's edge into the uncertainty, into the unknown, well, there's the beautiful white clouds representing the unseen, our soul, knowing the way. See, we don't just fall off the cliff. The clouds carry us. The unseen carries us. They walk with us. And so this is where all of this energy is culminating, and it's happening now. And let me just go back to the astrological chart really quick. So this is the new moon in Capricorn. It's the first new moon of 2026. So new moons, traditionally always represent new beginnings. But this is the first one of a 10-year, a whole new cycle. So these double ones, this double, and all this activity. And then you notice, and we've been talking about this, Neptune, kind of about 2 o'clock on the chart, Neptune and Saturn. Neptune's at 29 degrees. On the 26th of January, Neptune moves into 0 point Aries. On the 13th, I believe, of February, Saturn enters 0 point Aries. This is all, look at all of this happening simultaneously. And again, all the major outer planets shifting signs. So all of this is happening in this next 90 days, these next weeks, let alone the next 90 days, is just high octane. So let me take us into our main theme, because all of this is about how we get there. Our main theme is threading the needle, the narrow path of victory. So let's take a look at threading the needle first. And spiritually, threading the needle symbolizes achieving something seemingly impossible, like the biblical metaphor of a rich person entering heaven, requiring divine help or radical change, while also representing connecting disparate elements like mind and emotion, self and the divine. This is ego, mind, personality, human, soul source connection, past and present, to create wholeness, purpose, or healing, often through focused effort or spiritual insight. It signifies finding a precise path through obstacles. Guiding potential represents the thread. So guiding potential is the thread with focused will, that's the needle, to manifest meaning and making the mundane sacred. So threading the needle, we are being asked to thread the needle, to take the narrow path. Because when we're outside of that, it's chaos and, deconstruction and an illusion and so forth. But that narrow path, threading the needle, is the narrow path of victory. It's the narrow path to victory, but it's the narrow path of victory. And so, much like Master Jesus' teaching about a camel passing through the eye of a needle, and how it highlights how hard it is for the wealthy to enter God's kingdom, the divine kingdom, emphasizing detachment from material possessions. It's not about our material aspects, our ego. They are not bad things. Wealth, possessions, and so forth. They're not bad things. It's what we do with them. that matters, that differentiates. Is this a pure energy, pure octaves? Am I utilizing what the divine and what my soul in concert called in? Am I using them in a purposeful, pure way? So whether it's my position, whether it's my possessions, whether it's my monetary wealth, it's only when we allow those things to corrupt us, to corrupt our, you can't corrupt the soul, but to override, to circumvent it, to override it, to diminish it. This is what matters. It's about divine intervention. So threading the needle is about divine intervention. The saying implies that while seemingly impossible for humans, with the divine, all things are possible, suggesting reliance on grace, not personal wealth or effort. So when we again recognize everything we are, that we have monetarily, material possessions, it's through the grace of your soul, of the divine, not you, not ego, mind, personality, I, but soul source connection, we. And that anything's possible when we're aligned with divine will. Lastly, in the Kabbalah and Jewish mysticism, the soul, the needle, guides the physical, the thread, to unite the spiritual and the material worlds, making the physical world a dwelling for the divine, for God, for the divine. So see, it's when we harness what comes through us and we allow our ego, mind, personality, human, divine masculine, to effectuate that, to bring it, to manifest it. It's the magician. We're willing to go. It's the fool. Take the leap of faith. Always knowing and remembering that it is from the unseen, and that when we harness what we have been given in a pure way, greatness occurs. And the exact opposite, decay, wars, decay, illusion, all envy, greed, all of these things are the opposite of it. When we forego the soul, when we forego the divine will, and look what happens. And so, again, we're being asked, the divine is being very clear about threading the needle. We're to thread the needle, the narrow path of victory. Threading the needle is about achieving union, creating connection, finding purpose, and accomplishing the seemingly impossible through focused, often divinely guided action. We are being divinely guided. We are being given information. In every weekly Wisdom and Insights episode, the unseen gives us wisdom on how to align ourselves, how to prepare ourselves, how to ready ourselves for the new. Because the old, it's been there, done that, it's over. And so they have masterfully guided us in what to do. Well, here's that final, the peduncle we've been talking about, that final moment when all of these go click, 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 click. It all clicks into place. And it's threading the needle. The narrow path. So the narrow path of victory is a central, profound metaphor in Christian theology, primarily derived from Master Jesus' teaching in Matthew 7:13-14, which contrasts a narrow, difficult road leading to life with a broad, easy road leading to destruction. It represents an intentional daily commitment to living in alignment with divine will, rather than following worldly trends or selfish desires. So again, this is about when we align our creative force, our divine masculine, in service to divine feminine, the intuitive knowing, divine will. When those things align, when we commit to that, it's greatness. And in our current world. That is the narrow path. At some point, it will be, quote unquote, the broad path, meaning the narrow path is so well traveled because we all align with it, we all choose it. And the greatness that occurs, the purity, greatness, the empowerment, the limitlessness that comes from that joy, that alignment, it supersedes all. And it's because it doesn't come from, quote unquote, man, it comes from the divine. And this is how all of this is about an alignment to something greater. We often look at things and we align to something that's before us, that's external, someone's approval, or a position, or wealth and power, whatever it may be. Again, foregoing the connection that we have internally to the divine will, to the unseen, and how it is what guides all. It is the host, the master weaver. It is the divine. And yes, we are a spark of the divine, each of us, each a fractal of the divine. Well, imagine harnessing and bringing that all together individually and collectively. This is where we're moving. And they did something very odd. Instead of the list, here's my weekly wisdom and insights list of downloads from the unseen, the divine, the unseen. They went 1, 3, 2, 4. So, and number 3 from the unseen is a community in need is a community indeed. This is a play on the phrase, a well-known phrase about a friend in need is a friend indeed. And this has to do with the Aquarian era. And what they were saying is that, in essence, the old saying, what it means is a person who helps at a difficult time is a truly reliable person. It's number 3, the Trinity, unity. A community in need is a community indeed. So a community who helps at a difficult time is truly a reliable community. We can apply this both individually and collectively. It's again about alignment. The Trinity is about the road, Ahura Mazda, the rotary engine, where ego, mind, personality, heart, soul source connection, they're all unified, they're all one. And that's like a rotary engine, the Mazda rotary engine. It's not pistons going up and down. It's in a triangular motion, and they're all unified. They operate as one. So a community in need is a community indeed. And how that epitomizes the Aquarian era, we the people, and how a community who helps in a difficult time or at a difficult time is truly a reliable community. Communities are comprised of people. So it's a wake-up call for us to see this is the new era. We're at the threshold, threading the needle, the narrow path of victory. Walk the narrow path of victory, and you will receive that. So let's jump in. I want to go quickly to, while we're on astrology, this is Chani Nicholas, the astrologer. This is the weekly issue number 99. And she says, it's our move, with an image of a chess piece. And remember, for many episodes, the unseen has been talking about we're playing chess, not checkers. We're playing the long game. Well, here we are. It's our move. This week's astrology is playing for keeps. Monday opens with Aquarius season and a rare surge of confidence as Mars reaches its exaltation degree, which is 27 degrees Capricorn. And it's known in the Sabian symbols, the degree at 28 degrees, because you advance at 1 degree, is known as a large aviary, a large bird, which denotes and represents clairaudience, listening, soul source connection, knowing, listening. Chani Nicholas goes on, that means the start of the week is ideal for pushing projects forward, going the distance, and winning where it matters most. And we'll need it, given the fact that the main event is a pileup, a stellium, a pileup of the Sun, Mercury, Mars, and Venus, and Pluto in Aquarius. They're all approaching Pluto in Aquarius. And Pluto is the lord of the underworld, the gatekeeper. All of these planets, Mercury, Mars, and Venus, have had their cazimi. They're in the heart of the sun, being renewed by the sun. And then, in addition, sun and moon, they all go forward and meet Pluto, which is going to bring about renewal. There's a price to be paid for the new. And that price, that token, that price, so whether it's divine masculine, divine feminine, sun, moon, all of these things, the energies that the planets represent, it's about facing all of this. Because remember, again, we don't take the old into the new. We purify it away. We burn away the impurities so that everything is new. And this, she continues, Chani Nicholas continues, this week and next, secrets will come to light, power grabs will be tried, and subterranean plot lines will be revealed. This signature is intense, exposing, and telling, and it's asking us to do some internal composting. Anything that gets in the way of us connecting to our personal and collective power must be broken down, repurposed, and reworked. It's time to dig deep and remember who the F we are. We are divine beings. That's who we are. We are not all of these impurities. We are not the past. We are not the choices we made. In every instance, we have the ability to purify, to renew, to atone, own, atone, release, and to move forward with clarity, with purity, with purpose, with resolve, commitment. Beyond the extraordinary lies the ordinary. Pardon me. Beyond the ordinary lies the extraordinary. Let me get that right. Reach for the stars. That's where we are. And I just want to bring up something about, because when I looked at the chart, there was something else that immediately popped out. And by the way, the statement is, all the heavenly bodies, oh my, all these heavenly bodies are on one side of the astrological wheel. All these heavenly bodies are together. It's all happening in one quadrant. It's all happening simultaneously. It's big energy. And when I look then on the 22nd of January is when Mercury, it will be conjunct Pluto at 3 degrees. 3, a community in need is a community indeed. And what I heard was giving a voice to the voiceless. So when Mercury conjuncts Pluto, remember there's a price to be paid. Giving a voice to the voiceless means enabling marginalized, underrepresented, or vulnerable groups to express themselves and be heard, often through advocacy, media, technology, or direct support, to promote justice, understanding, and dignity. So again, as this all occurs, and upcoming on the 22nd, when Mercury conjuncts Pluto, there's going to be this giving a voice to the voiceless, things that are being revealed. Chani Nicholas, the astrologer, is speaking to this. The unseen is speaking to this. Number 2, from the unseen, they said odds and evens. Who would have ever guessed? Exclamation point, question mark. So odds and evens. Who would have ever guessed? And then they said an aspect of strange bedfellows. So odds and evens. The spirit in spiritually, Odds and evens. Odd numbers often symbolize unity, divine completeness, good fortune, and change linked to concepts like God's oneness or singular creation, while even numbers represent balance, duality, stability, harmony, or plurality, sometimes associated with pairs, earthly cycles, and the balance of opposites. The spiritual meaning varies across traditions, with some favoring odd for luck, ancient Romans and Muslims, and others finding harmony in their interplay, Catholic metaphysics, or associating evens with pairing and stability in the feng shui. Ultimately, these number interpretations reveal universal themes of unity versus duality, imperfection versus perfection, and change versus stability, woven into humanity's spiritual and cultural understanding. So it's number 2, it's pairings. Odds and evens. Who would have ever guessed? An aspect of strange bedfellows. So with all of this energy, all of this happening in the days and weeks and months to come, strange bedfellows. And they gave me, I recently saw in the US, there's a very long running show called Law and Order. And there was an episode called Trade This. It was season 10, here we are, season 10, episode 16. In it, a stockbroker is murdered, ultimately by his superior, his supervisor, because the supervisor was in business with the mob, with the son of the mob boss, stealing from them. And because the employee figured out what was happening, he kills the employee. Why is this important? Because in the episode, Strange Bedfellows, here's the DA, here's the justice system. And who do they call as a witness but the mob boss himself? Well, these two things don't usually go together. You don't usually see the mob boss testifying. You see the mob boss being the defendant. But here in this episode, he's the witness. Why is he the witness? Because he realizes that his son was duped. He didn't have permission to spend, the mob money. He's been taken, and so the mob boss wants to ensure that the stockbroker who committed the murder is, convicted. This is a long thing to say. Again, here's all of this. Beyond the ordinary lies the extraordinary. Reach for the stars. A community in need is a community indeed. It's about the Aquarian era, divine feminine, the matriarchal. We're being asked to thread the needle, take the narrow path of victory, align with it. And in these coming days, weeks, months, we're going to see odds and evens. Who would have ever guessed? Strange bedfellows, things coming to light, people that you would have expected to be the defendant or are considered illicit, coming to the fore in order to expose a greater evil, is the word coming to mind. This is where we are. These are big energies. Number 4 from the unseen. They said, rise and shine, sunshine. It's now or never time. And then they said, rise and shine, sunshine is a wake-up call. It's a call to action. That was very important in last week's show, this rise and shine, this call to action. And it's now or never time signifies a final opportunity before something is irrevocably or past. It can never be achieved again. And it's number 4 from the unseen. So it's about wake up, align, do what you need to do, empty the vessel, make room for the new, and thread the needle, thread your own needle. walk the narrow path of victory. Because again, all of life is it's cylindrical. So again, astrology is cyclical, not identical, and we are constantly ascending. So when you think of it, think of like a spiral staircase, or there's a beautiful building, I think it's known as the Bullet Building in London, and it's a conical shaped, looks like a bullet in a way, building. And imagine that the spirals, counterclockwise, the spirals are moving upward. So rise and shine, it's now or never time. It's a wake-up call, it's a call to action, and it's this, seize the moment, because we're all ascending. And so as all of this shifts, where are you on the ladder of ascension? And we can rapidly ascend. It's a personal choice. It's a simple act of saying, I commit to this. I lived my life one way, now I'm living my life another. And that choice, that alignment with the divine order, divine will, accelerates you, moves you along faster, releases you from past contracts, soul contracts, people, things of that nature. Welcome, Colleen. And so all of this is spiraling, ascending upward. Now let's move to our key word is perspective, because again, it is our perspective that either helps us or hinders us. Perspective, a mental view or prospect, a way of regarding, understanding, and thinking about situations, facts, etc., and judging their relative importance. It's discernment, Seven of Cups, discernment. To think about a situation or problem in a wise and reasonable way. A particular attitude toward or way of regarding something, a point of view. The way you see something. Spiritually, a spiritual perspective is a way of viewing life through a lens that sees beyond the physical, beyond the ordinary, focusing on deeper meaning, purpose, and connection to something greater, the extraordinary, like God, the universe, the divine, your higher consciousness, your soul, emphasizing inner growth, faith, and interconnectedness rather than just material or worldly concerns, often finding meaning in challenges and seeking inner peace. It's about understanding the non-physical dimension of existence and aligning with spiritual truths, transforming how one interprets experiences from negative to meaningful opportunities for growth. This is all about perspective, and you see the opera glasses with the pearlescent handle, and this something, and at the opera there's deeper meanings. All of this is on play, all of this is on offer, and it's about how when we change our perspective, everything changes. This is how we get there. So the unseen is literally providing us with a roadmap, a very specific roadmap, path. Thread the needle, the narrow path of victory. Walk that narrow path. And when doing so, all of this will align and it will show us. And then, of course, we become it, so we receive it. That's where we are in that rise and shine. It's now or never time. It's number 4. And with that number 5, we've had this a lot from the unseen. Peace be with you. And they said 3 exclamation points, and they said a gentle reminder during times of challenge, times of transition. And so they're reminding us of peace be with you. They're saying to us, the unseen is saying to us, humanity, peace be with you. Well, this statement is a profound spiritual message of wholeness, divine presence, and hope, rooted in Master Jesus's post-resurrection greeting, meaning the divine's deep restorative peace, shalom, that transcends worldly troubles, offering comfort, forgiveness for the past, strength in the present, and assurance for the future, and calling recipients to share that same peace with others. we have to share that same peace with ourselves, within ourselves first, so that we can authentically, genuinely share it with others. And it is this awareness that it's an invitation to experience the divine's restorative presence, finding inner tranquility and wholeness and extending that grace outwardly. So see, once we receive it internally, peace be with you. It's a powerful mantra. Just so when we're in uncertainty or fear or whatever, just peace be with you. Peace be with you. Peace be with you. You're saying it to yourself first. It's reminding you of your soul source connection, the unseen, the divine, God, however you wish to ascribe, that presence is with you. We've got you. We've got this. It's footprints in the sand. When you think you're alone, you're not. You're being walked with, carried by the unseen. You can accomplish anything with the unseen, the divine. That's a powerful message, and it's number 5, which is about change. So clearly we are walking through massive change at this time, massive. And thereby, the unseen is saying, hi, we're here, we've got you, peace be with you. It's an assurance. It's a reminder. It's a salve. It's a nourishment. All of this is on offer. So now let's go to Pam Youngins at North Point Journal. And she is speaking about she said crossing a threshold. What I'm hearing is crossing the threshold. This is crossing not a threshold, yes, okay, but it's the threshold. Major events are likely to occur over the course of the next 10 days, as each of the 4 planets that have been part of the Capricorn stellium enters Aquarius and immediately conjoins catalytic Pluto. We are shifting from realistic, restrictive, authoritative Capricorn, which has dominated the first half of January, to idealistic, rebellious, equality-minded Aquarius. This shift may involve some drama, given that Pluto will be so closely involved. We could also see hidden information exposed that contributes to the theatrics. Odds and evens, who would have ever guessed? An aspect of strange bedfellows. The first to cross the Aquarius threshold was Venus on January 17th, with the goddess of love and beauty now aligned with transformational Pluto. It's exact on January 19th. There could be significant changes in relationships, alliances, and financial matters. We're seeing this playing out, I believe, in Davos on the world stage. This changing of alliances. The sun is next in line, entering Aquarius on January 19th and conjoining Pluto on the 23rd. The solar month of Aquarius, from January 19th to February 18th, is typified by a heightened need to know, a desire for freedom from restrictions and expectations, and a wish to connect with like-minded others. People may be very strong-willed and determined when the sun aligns with Pluto, which can exacerbate power struggles. So again, we're going to see there's so much happening coming up. Mercury will enter Aquarius on the 20th of January, conjoin the sun on the 21st, that's the Cazimi, and conjoin Pluto on the 22nd. Throughout this 3-day period, the need to know the truth is highlighted. Secrets could be uncovered and information sources may be revealed. Conversations are intense and direct. Some may use words to manipulate, intimidate, or coerce if they're, again, remaining in the shadow, the energy of the shadow. This is where Mercury conjunct Pluto, giving a voice to the voiceless, things being exposed, names being named, all these different things, and strange bedfellows, all of these different things, because the world is changing. What we had is no longer. That's not a bad thing. Is it scary, frightening? Does it create uncertainty? Yes. However, it's for us. It's to advance us. That's why this is all happening. And so, the more that we fall into line, wake up, fall into line, meaning wake up, get in alignment, the narrow path, thread the needle, the easier it becomes for us individually, collectively. Because we are creating a new way. We're seeing how there are those that are attempting to create in the new, in the shadow aspect, the negative aspect. That dog doesn't hunt in the new. It doesn't go there. It doesn't belong. What belongs is purity, we the people, this purity of intention, alignment, alliances, for the good of all. And so how we go about our individual lives, being in alignment with that energy, with that truth, the purity of that truth, because that is where destiny, the arc of destiny, is moving forward. That's where it's going. So continuing Pam Youngin's North Point Journal, Mars brings up the rear of the parade, entering Aquarius on January 23rd. While Mars is in the 11th sign until March 2nd, there is a strong need to be free and independent, with a heightened resistance to being controlled or coerced. Since Mars moves more slowly than the other personal planets, its conjunction with Pluto will not perfect until January 27th. That being said, we are likely to feel the energies of the dynamic Mars-Pluto alignment for several days leading up to the 27th. This powerful planetary combination enhances ambition, passion, and determination. And this is where hexagram 1 comes in, the creative force, initiate. January is a 1 month, 2026 is a 10, which becomes a 1, which is double ones. So we have this kind of doubling down on ambition, passion, determination, the creative force, and how it's about to initiate. And she said, but also it can increase willful behaviors and subversive activities. So again, both are going to happen simultaneously. The outcome is assured, meaning the light always prevails. Do we oftentimes have to walk through darkness? Do we have to walk through our own stuff to get to the other side? Yes. And there's a price to be paid. Pluto is there ensuring that that price, we've been purified, the Kazimis. Now comes the, okay. And it's what they keep showing me over and over is Pluto standing there, and there's like a threshold. There's the gatekeeper, there's a gate, and each one is being handed this token of responsibility, because you're entering Aquarius, you're entering the new. And the new requires purity of intention. Purity. And you're being held to account. It's creating new cycles. We're being held to account. So the divine masculine, the divine feminine, the divine communicator, all of them, the sun, the moon, all of them being granted permission to enter the new. With that comes with great power comes great responsibility. That's threading the needle. That's the narrow path of victory. This is where we are, where we're going. And I want to move to, before we jump into Astrology by Lauren, our mantra. Hark the herald angels sing. This was an absolute episode many shows ago on Weekly Wisdom and Insights. However, it's number 6 from the unseen. It's both our mantra and number 6. And they said, hark the herald angels sing. A heavenly announcement, trumpet blast. A divine interruption. We're not to miss the coming words. The coming words, remember, from the void is the word. Let there be light. So hark the herald angels sing. The unseen is saying to us, a heavenly announcement, trumpet blasts. A divine interruption. So the divine is working, orchestrating all of this on our behalf to ascend us, level us up to a new octave of being. And that we're not to miss the coming words. This this coming attraction, this new. And HARK means listen. So again, there's tremendous alignment. We're being asked, hark the herald angels sing, to listen. There's a heavenly announcement, trumpet blast, a divine interruption. We're not to miss the coming words. What will be revealed to us, revelation, what will be revealed to us that is new with all of this occurring in the days, weeks, and months between now and March, April, that will be a game changer in how we all live, communicate, operate. They've talked a lot about this. And number 7, when I said, okay, what's to come? What's all of this? Boil it all down. What's to come? And I heard supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Well, that phrase, for many, you may know, is the phrase from the 1964 Disney Mary Poppins. It's a very famous song in Mary Poppins. And then it hit me, Mary Poppins has a magic umbrella. She rises, she lifts. One could say fly. Well, last week, of course, was Mary Rising, the Holy of Holies, a call to action. And here's Mary Poppins, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. So what's to come? Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious means extraordinarily wonderful or splendid, used as an expression of joy. So what's to come? Extraordinarily wonderful or splendid era, energy, way of being, life. Are we in the throes of the old collapsing? I mean, just the cleaving and the clinging? Yes. However, it doesn't make supercalifragilisticexpialidocious any less true. And thereby, this expression of joy. That's what's to come. Now let's jump to Astrology by Lauren. And she is speaking about transitions 2026. On January 18th, we have a new moon at the very end of Capricorn at 28 degrees, 44 arc minutes of Capricorn. This is a pattern that has been repeating since the solar eclipse on September 20th at 29 degrees Virgo, and will continue until the new moon on March 18th at 28 degrees Pisces. There are 6 to 7 new moons and full moons that are at the exact same degree of different planets. Again, something that has not occurred in eons. It's an abnormality in astrology. At the very last degrees of the signs, we are needing to slough off what was to fully embrace the new era that is now unfolding before us. This is the yin wood snake, the sloughing off, because on the 17th of February is the yang fire horse. We're moving to fire, from water and earth to fire and air. And so you can see that this is in concert with all of that. Each new moon presents itself as a new opportunity and new motivation to gradually move on, shedding the skins of a former life as we enter the new one. And Colleen is speaking about Davos, and there's an interesting aspect of, again, we're seeing greatness. I mean, speaking to the future of everything we're talking about by particular world leaders, and yet the deprivation by others. It's exactly what we're talking about here, and it's playing out on the world stage for us to see so that we can make choices, individual and collective choices for the world before us, the one we wish, the one that came before and the one that's before us. Astrology by Lauren continues, it is in these latter degrees of the signs that so many of the outer planets are pausing in water and earth signs, feeling and sustainability, to make their transition to the new era of fire and air, action and ideation. As we begin the week, all the inner planets, Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, are converging in Capricorn in preparation for the new moon on January 18th, which has just occurred. And then after the new moon, one by one, each will cross the divide into Aquarius, where they will then have to contend with Pluto waiting at the gate. Transformative in only the deepest ways, the ultimate aim for Pluto in Aquarius is to transform our relationship to power. See, with great power comes great responsibility. The purity of power, not the shadow aspect of power. Been there, done that. We're witnessing it. The deconstruction, the collapse of it, the abuse of it. But what's before us is our relationship to power. And when we act from a state and place of purity, that doesn't mean people run over us or we're some, schmuck that gets taken advantage of. Quite the contrary. When you stand in the power, true power, the purity of power, you know what's happening. You know what other people are doing. You know when people are trying to pull the wool over on your eyes and what they're, and the energy they live and reside in. And you can just quietly stand like the lion who doesn't have to roar to be known. The lion says, yeah, I see you. I understand. Have a nice day. Keep shopping. I'm not buying. That's not for me. That's real power. Like an upside down, this is Astrology by Lauren, like an upside down pyramid, the power structure is transforming from one where all the power is consolidated at the top to one in which the power is transferred, redistributed to the collective. Because the hourglass is getting turned over. So we're beginning all these new cycles, new era. And so that redistribution. But they know that. The old, the energies, the shadow, the goo, knows this is happening. Knows it's the fait accompli. Knows it's divine will. And they're doing everything they can to prevent the hourglass from turning over. But turn over it will. Turn over it does. Astrology by Lauren. However, Pluto also has to do with digging deep beneath the surface to heal our collective wounds. This is about recognizing the choices we've made individually, collectively. This is where we are in our lives, individually, collectively, and how we move forward. Thread the needle, take the narrow path of victory. With its conjunction to Pluto, meaning the new moon, in Aquarius, the new moon is shining a light on those things that had been lurking beneath the surface, festering so terribly that they can no longer be ignored. This may even feel, capital letters, a little foreboding as we approach the conjunctions to Pluto over these next 10 days. In our own lives, we can have our own reckoning as we partake of some serious soul searching. In the deep dive into our karmic destiny, we are confronted with the demons dwelling there that must be acknowledged and purified. See, this is that token. And Pluto is saying, yes, you've been purified by the sun, the life force. Enter the new. This is the same for us. Because as above, so below, we are all one in this. One for all for one. It was in last week's episode. So it's about, we must acknowledge it and purify it. In just a matter of days now, Neptune will leave the watery depths of Pisces and re-enter Aries. Saturn follows soon after in February. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and when major planets enter this sign, there is this surge of raw energy heralding a rebirth. That's the creative force, the one. It's the magician. We're the fool taking that leap of faith to enter. But from where we are standing now in the very last degrees of Pisces with Saturn and Neptune, we cannot fully see what it looks like yet. In these degrees, there is a sloughing off, even a sadness, and for some, even emotional despair for what was. They know it's collapsing. They know it's leaving. They know it's ending. And yet, they're thrashing about. Remember, the Unseen said many shows ago, it's the dragon that's been chained down. and only its neck and head are thrashing about. But eventually, the swift sword goes and lops the neck, the head of the dragon off. This particular dragon. It's over. It's done. It will harm no longer because it does not go into the new. Astrology by Lauren. So we stand on the threshold of what will be without knowing what that is just yet. Despite this, we are being asked to take a leap of faith that we are being brought precisely where we need to be and to have hope even in the face of extraordinary uncertainty. Individually, collectively. So apply this to your individual lives because again, we comprise the whole. And so of course, as we individually click into place or moved forward, it opens for what's to come, what's to be. And yes, we're in that tail end, the peduncle. We're in that tail end of that murkiness before it all clicks. But clicking, it is. You can see that on the astrological chart. Astrology by Lauren. Times of uncertainty such as these call for creative and alternative solutions. And an exact Saturn-Uranus sextile this week affords us just the sort of opportunities and the insight to adapt in the best ways we can. Saturn is the struggle to find our place and position in this time of change and uncertainty, while Uranus lets us know that we are going to have to readjust our inner GPS systems to get there. Thread the needle, the narrow path of victory. Saturn, the ruling planet of Capricorn's new moon, combined with Uranian innovation, is asking us to bring our personal goals and strategies for the future into alignment with our ideals and our vision for the future. So in other words, we can't hope or think or want one way and act and behave and do in another. That's incongruent. So the unseen, astrology by Lauren, get into alignment. Rise and shine, sunshine. It's now or never time. Get into alignment. During these junctures within the Saturn-Uranus cycle, there is often a revamping of an old order. At some point, we come to realize that old ideas, old ways, are no longer relevant for where we are now. And so we are compelled to adjust to something new. The ability to adapt to the demands of the time will determine whether or not this life will proceed smoothly. See, it's up to us. It's up to our choices. What we choose matters. And we're being told, guided, a heavenly acknowledgement, hark the herald angels sing, trumpets blast, a divine interruption. Listen. We're not to miss the coming words because when we're in alignment with that, it determines that it proceeds smoothly. When we're not in alignment with that, it's the tower. It's the negative aspect of the tower. It's not going to be pretty. It can be pretty or not pretty. It depends upon us. One characteristic of the planet Uranus is that it can be illuminating and it can open the door for better things to come. Therefore, keep an open mind and be willing to look for solutions in unexpected corners. Simple changes in perspective, it's our key word, perspective, could have remarkable consequences. By being open to new possibilities, you can discover ideas and possibilities that you were not able to see before. There's going to be great clarity returning as Neptune enters Aries, Saturn follows. All of these planets in the stellium of Capricorn are moving into Aquarius, and they're meeting Pluto, and they're receiving their token to advance with purity of intention. So things may come that weren't there before. We didn't see them, and yet it will be this quantum leap forward. It's the fool, and all we have to do is be the fool, be willing to go. And the fool is empowered. It's not a fool as in an idiot. It's a fool as in magic, awe, and wonder, and yes, saying yes, because it's going to expand us. Lastly, Astrology by Lauren, this will be our roadmap and inner guidance system. The new moon in Capricorn is asking us to commit to those ideals that are found in our heart of hearts. Hold them. Know what your most important priorities are, what is right, what is sacred, and make an oath to protect these. Then trust that your commitment to those ideals will guide you through this potentially chaotic, liminal space between the worlds. That commitment is what allows you to thread the needle, is what allows you to walk the narrow path of victory. And she finished with this quote. She's used this before. It's so beautiful, by Martin Luther King Jr. The national holiday in America was just on Monday. Commit yourself to the noble struggle for equal rights. You will make a greater person of yourself, a greater nation of your country, and a finer world to live in. And this takes us finally to hexagram 1, the creative force to initiate. And this is by divination.com. And it's our first quote. The air is ripe with imagination, inspiration, and energy. The flying dragon is an ancient symbol of a dynamic, arousing force that bodes well for creative movement. You note it's associated with a dragon. The dragon that's been locked and chained down and its head's going to be lopped off is the goo, the shadow, that which is impure. So that the purity of the dragon, the creative force, the divine masculine, lives on. When your goals are in alignment with the greater good, positive actions taken with good timing, divine timing, will meet with success. This is an excellent time to exercise leadership because you can be strong now. However, be forewarned, success turns to failure when strength turns to arrogance. So this is what we're talking about. Just because we're bestowed with all of these material earthly goods, doesn't mean that somehow we're better than someone else, or that we get to dictate or run roughshod or demonize and harm others. Because when we do, success turns to failure because you're the custodian of this energy and you didn't care for it in a pure way. So eventually it's taken from you or it becomes your own undoing. This first hexagram contains all yang lines and is one of the most auspicious readings in the Book of Changes. Whoever draws this hexagram is assured, so we, all of us, humanity is drawing this hexagram, is assured success when they follow its 6 stages of development, starting with the bottom line. By being sensitive to conditions and doing things in the right order, divine order, one develops more influence. Time itself becomes the means to make real what has only been the potential before this moment. And there's this beautiful peridot gemstone. Well, all gemstones from the earth, diamonds, all gemstones, it can take thousands of years, time, to make real what has only been the potential before this moment, something that was raw. And thereby, it's not unlike humans that we are in this moment, that time itself becomes the means to make real what has only been the potential before this moment. We're being made real. We're going back to where we began, an octave higher. So we, in this rawness of humanity, we become refined, polished, honed, shaped, elevated. And lastly, believe in your dreams and persevere, and everything around you will flourish. Call upon your creative power and let it work through you. Stay focused on your goals. Do not allow yourself to be distracted, or you may lose the power that is available to you now. Remember that when taking right action, success requires making the right moves at the right time. So this is about divine will, divine time, divine order, calling upon, harnessing the divine masculine within us to seize the moment, to thread the needle, and walk the narrow path of victory, to choose it. So that, because what's to come? Extraordinarily wonderful and splendid opportunities, life itself, and this higher octave, this expression of joy. So until next week, powerful energies. We will conclude this double 1 month, the 1 and the 1 next week. with, I know, there's a powerful message awaiting. It popped through and it has to come back. So until then, be well, be kind with yourselves, and keep aligning. Keep taking, hark the herald angels sing, keep taking the narrow path of victory. Success is assured. Love you all. See you next week.